Hey, Jen. Hey, Crystal. Good to see you. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope the weather is okay. It's pretty freaking crazy here right now. The wind is insane. Last time I checked, it was gusts up to like 55 miles per hour, which is really, really strong um for Arizona. Hey, Spacebound. Hey, Mark. Hey, Sean. Hello, Halo. So this is just going to be a short live. I had some spare time, and I'm going to try and do these lives more often because I know I don't release as many videos or post as many videos as some of these other channel creators. So I want to give you guys some sort of content or information. The reason why I don't post a lot of videos is because I don't feel that the information going around is relevant. I think it's a bunch of hocus pocus, and that's why you don't see me posting it. So um, I just wanted to let you guys know that it's not because I'm being lazy or anything like that. We hardly, Jen, we hardly have any wind. Like we'll get like kite flying wind around this time of year, but nothing like this. This is not even you can't fly a kite in this wind whatsoever. And it's pretty hot today. Actually, I think it was 84. I didn't feel like it, but the wind helped, I guess. And then we're supposed to have like 20% chance of rain, which means 0% chance here. Like unless it says anywhere, like it's got to be at least 70% or higher to even think that rain's going to happen. Hello, I see through things. That's okay. I'm actually kind of strange. I go, some of my subscribers will know this, but I actually go out in the storm and on my roof sometimes, believe it or not. When everyone's going inside, I'm going outside. So I was actually sitting in my hammock swing earlier with the wind like this, but I was like, okay, now it's a little crazy. I'm gonna have to go inside. I thought my chickens might get swept away there for a second. But yeah, it's crazy weather. It's not normal weather for this time of year whatsoever. That blows. No pun intended, Mark. Arizona, very windy today. That blows. So on the screen here, because I know that like not a lot of people, but there's been several people who have said, well, or asked, why can't you discuss your theory openly when somebody asks you what your theory is? And so I decided to put the actual YouTube guidelines on the screen for everybody to see, put a ticker down below, so because I mean, when I say I literally cannot talk about my theory or discuss it, or when somebody asks me what's your theory, that means I literally cannot, because it's stated in the YouTube guidelines. And it's even more so on a live stream. You're risking more, discussing it. Yeah, by all means. That's like if I have Chica here, or Forest Gift, or Jenny May, they do a great job helping me out in the chat to um, fill in what I can't. So if you guys want to discuss it, that's great. And I'm especially not going to censor you guys. Just because they're censoring me doesn't mean that you guys should be censored. So, but I think that you guys could probably get away with it a little bit more than I can. So sorry, a little bit of disruption there. So as you can see on the screen, if you look at the 1, 2, 3, fourth one down, it says that this is examples. If you go under hate speech on the YouTube community guidelines, under hate speech, it will list examples of what creators can and cannot, or not can and cannot, but what they cannot talk about in their content. So one of the examples they say is all of these so-called victims of this violent event are actors. No one was hurt, and this is just a false flag. All of the so-called victims of this are actors. No one was hurt. So, granted, I'm not saying that there's much more to it than simply that, but in a nutshell, that's pretty much my theory. So, this again is why I cannot openly discuss my theory on the case, because if I do, I risk getting a strike on my channel, which I already did get one for a previous live stream that I did, simply just going over the anatomy of one of these events. And it wasn't even like my theory. It was just simple educational purposes. Sorry, I'm here. I just like disappear on you guys. You're like, what the hell? Um, hey Dave. Hey Arch. Good to see you. Hello, Katie. Gina. So This is also another reason why, if I could, I would go on as many other channels and go on panel as often as I could in order to get my theory out there so that, more and more people know about it. The problem with that is I can't, because I risk their channel as well. You see what I'm saying? Hi, Kelly. Hello, Dink. So that's not something that I want to do to other channels. Now, I don't know how the rules work with, them having guests on or whatever, but I don't want to risk that, because I would feel terrible if I did, for some reason, by speaking about my theory on other channels. I would feel terrible if for whatever reason they did get a strike or something. So, that being said, if anybody does have any questions, I will do my best to answer them. I was going to put in the title quick Q and hopefully A, but again, it's difficult, to say the least, and it's very frustrating to me, and I know it's very frustrating to you know others who watch me, or my content. And in my videos I can get away with it a little bit more, but the last video I put up, just so you guys know, uh the video is not about Q and on, and I probably shouldn't have just said that on live stream, because that'll probably trigger the algorithms. But I'm not sure why YouTube put underneath my video that that's what my video is about. It could be because I mentioned Q7, which is a wind farm. It has nothing to do with that certain letter of the alphabet, conspiracy. But I just wanted to clear that up. Also, while I'm thinking about it, and I meant to bring this up a while ago, if you are commenting on my videos and your comments are getting deleted, I greatly apologize. It's not me doing it. I don't know who's doing it. I'm assuming it's YouTube, but I don't know that for 100% sure. All I know is it's not me doing it. I'm not deleting. I don't delete comments ever on my channel. I think I've probably deleted under 10 comments the entire time I've been making videos or making content, simply because I don't like to censor people. The only time I will remove a comment is if it's straight up just nasty and threatening. So again, if your comments are being removed, I do apologize. And that's again too why even if the comment is not a nice comment, or doesn't agree with me, or it's rude, I will still heart the comment, just because that way I know myself that I have seen that comment, and also let the person who commented know that I've seen it as well. So I've been noticing that comments that I know I have replied to have been removed, or have been unhearted, or the heart removed, however you want to say it. So again, if it if you do notice your comments are getting deleted, I do apologize. It's not me. Hey, FRV. So if you guys have any questions, please go ahead and ask, like I said, and I will do my best to answer them, and without hopefully getting on any rants. This will be a quick live because, again, I just wanted to come on here for a little bit, and then I have to make dinner. And while I'm waiting for if anybody has any questions, I mentioned this before in my other live streams, but in my opinion, and to me, the fact that they have mentioned these specific examples, which are pretty much my theory, the fact that they've mentioned them specifically in their guidelines is very telling, in my opinion. Because again, you don't see on there that it says you cannot accuse anybody of being a murderer. It doesn't say in their examples that you can't accuse anybody of being accomplice to murder. You can't accuse of anybody being at the crime scene or anything in any of these horrific events, right? But you're just not allowed to say that they orchestrated or fabricated. And I'm going to look on my phone at the chat because StreamYard is terrible for comments. Okay, Dixie, no problem. Like I said, whenever you get a chance, no rush. I appreciate you doing that, though. That's great. Dixie Chick is going to post some videos that I'm too afraid to post on mine about a lot of the stuff that I talk about. So when you guys get a chance, and she said she's working on it now, please go over and subscribe to her. If I had a moderator in here, I would have them put your channel link. Let me see if I can do that real quick. I know what I can do. I'll mod you, Dixie, and then if you want to drop your channel link in the chat, go ahead and do that. And yeah, it's not just me being censored. It's many truth channels. Any channels that go against the official narrative are being centered, or not centered, censored left and right. So the censorship is it's getting worse and worse every day. FRV, I don't know a lot about the COLUMBINE. I mean, I know what the official narrative has told us and what the mainstream media has told us, but um, that's one of those other tragic events that you are not allowed to speak about unless you are specifically going with the official narrative. And another one is that SH1. That's another big like no to talk about. Like you can't even say, obviously, as you can see, you can't even say the name without even getting the algorithms, red flagging your channel. That's how bad it is. I don't know if enough about it to say that it was one, but I do have a feeling that it might have been orchestrated. Yes. Alice wonders, Megan, did you see that video they did on mass last week? Very interesting. I didn't. What video did they do? Yeah, Dixie, you can find the predictive programming in every single every single episode of American Horror Story, every single season. It's overwhelming. You're on another search engine, and it brought up a different autopsy for girls. CC in a long white T-shirt and a diaper and belt. Really, Dave? That's interesting. Hi, Justice. I'm sorry if I missed any of your comments. Yes, I do see you. Sorry. Dixie, did you drop your channel link in the chat? Yeah, well, they silenced Ole too, Jen. They took his channel down. I think you can pretty much, I mean, you can find his videos, if you search, but there are some left, but you have to go to his actual website to find any of his content. I mean, any of like, the good stuff. I mean, all his content is good, but, the really controversial stuff. Just copy and paste your link into the chat if you know your YouTube channel link. And Justice, yeah, I didn't plan on doing a very live, didn't plan on making a very long live stream tonight. Again, I just wanted to just do a quick one because I have to make dinner here shortly. But yeah, if you want to come up on panel sometime, yeah, you're more than welcome to. I just open my window and see if you guys can hear the wind. It's crazy here. Yeah, go to your channel homepage, Dixie, and then click on the three settings dots, like the vertical dots, and then it should say share or something. And the YouTube help, I keep seeing attributes that are above. Scroll up so we can see that. Yeah, of course. I don't know why it's so big, but oh, there we go. Okay. So there's your attributes. What does the official narrative say about NK's college education? Ooh, I don't know if I have. I looked that up a long time ago, but oh, you got it, Dixie. Cool. Yeah, there's the link to Dixie. She's going to post some videos that are relevant to my theory and as well as other events. I can't remember specifically where it says she went to like college. I know that she went to like Pinecrest or something, even though I found no evidence. I found a long time ago, I searched and searched, and I found a website that you can order yearbooks from, and they wanted $50 to order a yearbook, and I said, it's not that important to me to figure out if this chick went to this high school or not. So Eddie, I don't know. I don't know why so many creators can get away with naming so-called murderers and conspirators even when it doesn't fit the narrative. I don't know. That's why I think it's crazy. Like that's what I'm saying. You can literally accuse someone of being a murderer even though there's no evidence to back it up, or being an accomplice to murder and not have to worry about your channel being taken down. But if you question the authenticity of a tragic event, even though it has many holes in its narrative and many, inconsistencies, you're not allowed to question it, the authenticity of it. Nope. But you can accuse Nicole Kessinger of being a murderer. You can accuse her of being an accomplice to murder all day long, and you don't have to worry about it because it's not stated in their guidelines. So why is it that I, or myself or anybody else is not allowed to question the official narrative of these tragic events that don't add up, where there's more questions than answers, and that have many, many holes in their narrative? Again, it's not like I'm going around and saying that everything's fabricated, nothing's real. I'm only questioning the ones that have all the holes in their narrative and that don't add up, and that have, red flag after red flag after red flag. You're not going to find me questioning any of these, homicide cases that add up and that don't have those red flags. All I'm doing is questioning the ones that don't add up. So why am I or anybody else not allowed to ask questions about why it doesn't add up. And again, well, apparently you can, because that's what we're all doing, right? We're all asking questions, and because we haven't been given the answers to those questions that they left us with. So us as humans, like, what we're going to do if we can't get the answer straight from the source, we're going to try and figure out the answers ourselves, no matter what theories we put out there. But why is it that so many other people are allowed to have you name it, we've heard it all, right? Pretty much. From from multiple accomplices to coworkers being involved to explosions to witchcraft to psychedelic drugs or hypnotose drugs and crystals and covens and portals. I even heard a portal one time. It could go on and on and on. I mean, there's even people you guys know that are accusing Shanann, a victim, right? They're accusing Shanann of killing Bella and Cece. I'm not even accusing anybody of murder. But yet I'm not allowed to speak about my theory. Here it says again. Other types of content that violates this policy. Deny that a well-documented violent event took place. Why am I not allowed to deny that a well-documented violent event took place or say that it didn't take place? Ones that have the red flags and the holes in their narrative. Just want to make that clear, because I'm not saying that everything is fabricated or orchestrated, by all means. They've already gone for my channel, Justice, because I've already got a strike for simply talking about the anatomy of orchestrated events. So after that, I changed everything that I was doing, and I've had to speak in code for the last few months and find different words and different meanings for everything. Like I'm surprised anybody even knows half the stuff that I'm talking about. They probably come on my channel and think I'm a crazy person, because I literally had to one live I had to call a specific event a target practice at educational facilities for students. I mean, I literally had to say that. So I am trying to avoid the algorithms. And that's why I don't do very many live streams. That's why I don't put out a lot of content. That's why I'm not as transparent as I would like to be. I would like to just come out and say, I don't think that this happened, or I think that this happened, but I literally can't. And not only that, but when I do that, which just happened in a live stream the other day, I got annihilated for saying my theory, for simply saying, this is what I think it's orchestrated. I don't think this, or I think that. And yeah, I just got ripped a new one. But no, you can say that Shanann killed her kids and she had a drug problem, and that or that Kessinger had a drug problem. I've seen so many people say that Kessinger was on drugs and meth and and every single thing, and then she pulled her hair out from the drugs. It's insane. It's absolutely insane, and it's because people don't think for themselves. They really don't. They just hear what their precious channel creator says and go, oh yeah, I do think that Nicole Kessinger was on drugs, which it has absolutely zero proof of that whatsoever. Like, I'm not saying I don't think that she was on drugs. I don't think that her hair was pulled out. And even if none of it is even relevant to, and it gets us nowhere closer to solving this case. So, Justice, with your question, there's a difference between the FF and the PSYOP, which I actually, believe it or not, didn't know until, just probably a year ago. But with the FF, usually with those, people actually do die. And with the PSYOP, they do not. So, although it's orchestrated with the FF, it will still somehow involve people losing their lives. The PSYOPs are completely 100% fabricated, and there's no I don't. The algorithms are probably going to pick me up spelling it too, but there's no victims. So, hey, April. But yeah, so why is it? Let me think about it. Why is it that all these other channels can literally, and I sound like a broken record, but why can they literally accuse somebody of murder or accuse a victim of killing her own children with no evidence to back it up? Yes, are there inconsistencies in the narrative, and there's a lot of things that don't add up? Yes, but there's still no proof that Shanann killed anybody, or that Kessinger was high on drugs all the time, or that she was an accomplice to murder. But that's why they do this. They do that on purpose. They leave all these holes in the narrative so that people go crazy trying to figure out why or what the hell happened in this case. And with only half of the evidence, mind you, and evidence that we don't even know if it's factual. It's done that way on purpose. It's to send people down rabbit holes to, and to, just like I said, to figure out what in the hell happened. But no one's ever going to figure out the truth, ever. Or what happened that night, or in those 3 hours, or whatever, or if Kessinger was involved. It's impossible. Absolutely 100% impossible. Even if the information that they did give us was factual, you cannot solve a case based on only half of the information or only part of the evidence. And then you have, and I don't want to throw names out there, but because I don't have 100% proof of this, but there's people like Cheryl and Cadle who are plants. They're meant to cause confusion, to cause chaos, to distract, to mislead, to pull at heartstrings. This whole bullcrap with Bella walking up to the stairs to her death, it's all nonsense. Absolute 100% Nonsense. Chris saying that he killed the girls twice or tried to kill them one time and they woke up. Nonsense. You're telling me that you can't do it right the first time and you just want us to believe that they woke up? It's to, again, pull at heartstrings, keep people interested in the case, distract. And then the problem is you have the plants that are there who are paid to, or there to specifically do these things. But then you have other channel creators who know that this case brings in a ton of views and a ton of money, who are going to milk this case for everything that it has till they run out of theories. And I can't believe they're still coming up with theories, because at this point they're just absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. But and the problem with Sherilyn Cadle is that everyone just believes it. Like, number one, she's getting her information from someone who is a pathological liar, as we know, or the narrative tells us is a pathological liar. Then she's coming saying, "Oh, well, he talked to me," and then she's going into writing books about it and saying, "Well, I believe that he said this," and those are very interesting words when people use that. I believe and I think. Just like KK always uses, I believe, I think, and I'm not sure why Chris did it. Well, why don't you freaking ask him? Ask him, say, why the fuck did you do this, Chris? Because nobody else is giving us answers. And these are people who are supposedly talking to the source itself. So, but my point is, why would anybody believe what Sherilyn Cadle says as factual or truthful when she's getting her information from, number one, a pathological liar? Sure. Sorry, one sec. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. Yeah, Red, that is interesting that her initials are CC. And you'll notice too, not to get off track, but you'll notice that they love the duality of these letters. So you have like CC, then you have Kevin Kobach, KK, and then you have Kim Kaufman, KK. Let's see, who else am I missing? Of course, CC, but there's a ton more. But as I was saying, you have these, again, you have the plants that are meant to, they're put there on purpose to distract. And then you have these other channel creators who, again, know that this case brings in a lot of views. And, well, of course, not to my channel or some other channels, but for, the bigger channels, it brings in the views. So they're literally going to keep coming up with as many ridiculous theories that they can in order to again, just get everything they can out of this case. And as long as people keep believing it, they're going to keep doing it. And all this crap that's going on with with Ronnie and all this stuff, like, they're a part of it, you guys. They are 100%. These parents are a part of it. The Ruseks go on social media to cause distraction, to cause chaos, to divide people. They're not victims, okay? They're not. No victims, real victims, are going to treat other people the way that they've been treating people on social media, ridiculing and mocking and instigating other channel creators that are making fun of other channel creators and other people. Those aren't victims. You don't, if you're really a victim, you would know how it feels and you wouldn't do that. They're there to purposely cause chaos and give people false hope. Everything that's going on with Ronnie and Lana and whatever. I don't like to name drop, but just so you guys know what I'm talking about, it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. And I've been careful, as far as what I say, but at this point, it's just so out of hand. It's ridiculous. But they're either doing it still to keep people distracted, keep people thinking, oh, there's going to be hope, there's going to be a 35C, there's going to be a trial. There will never, I guarantee you, and if this does happen, I will be the first to come out and say that I was wrong, but there will never be a trial. Nicole Kessinger will never be charged for anything. There is no 35C. There is no, investigation into other people involved. Troy McCoy was not an accomplice to murder. Nicole Kessinger was not an accomplice to murder. The only thing that these main individuals involved in this case are guilty of are being a part of a fabricated event and for lying to the public and deceiving the public. That's what they're guilty of. But I'm beginning to think that people in the true crime community do not want the truth. They just want what they want to hear. They just want the ending for what they want. They completely forget about the evidence or the facts, and they just go, oh, I really want to, there to be a trial because I want Kessinger, just completely forgetting about all the facts or lack thereof in this case. And I'm not, and I'm, please don't think that I'm putting anybody down or any of you guys down for trying to figure out what the hell happened, because that's, it's normal, especially if you're into true crime. People want to know what the hell happened. They want to know why Chris did what he did. They want to know if Kessinger was involved or not. They want justice if that is the case. And I get that. I completely 100% get that. And at the very beginning, I was the same way. I was like, she can't get away with this. But then until I started realizing all these red flags or noticing these red flags in the case that I noticed from other orchestrated events, that's when I, took a step back, didn't let my emotions get in the way or my anger for what, that I thought that she was guilty of or whatever, put those aside so that I can actually see what the hell's going on with this case. But people let their emotions take over, and that's going to prevent anybody from seeing the actual truth or seeing the facts of what's really going on in this case. And all this chaos and all these channel creators that are just spewing out all this disinformation is doing myself no favors at all. Like, I can't even keep up with it if I tried. Because if people really did care about the truth in this case and they cared about the facts, they would listen to what I had to say instead of just saying, you're crazy, you're a troll, you don't know what you're talking about, how dare you, Tell that to the Rusex. I would love to tell that to the Rusex. But they do that on purpose. They do that so that people's heartstrings get pulled at, so that they don't think logically. They just think with their emotions. And they think of how horrific, and they think about the girls being in the oil tanks and Shanann being buried in a hole. I get that. It completely pulls at people's emotions, but it's done that way on purpose. And that's why they make these events as tragic as possible. So not only that it gets people emotionally involved, which prevents them from thinking logically if they do have that capability. Sometimes I question it for some people, but they do that on purpose. They also do that so that when people like myself or other, people that try to expose these events, they look like a crazy person, a POS, for saying, how dare you even say any of, that none of this happened. How dare you? So we look like the conspiracy theorist and the bad person, even though nothing adds up in this case. So if they were really, really wanted to get to the truth of this case, they would hear me out instead of immediately, discrediting what I'm saying. And say, hey, you know what? There is a lot of red flags in this case, and maybe we do need to look at it from different perspective in all angles. But for the majority of people, they probably don't even, know what a orchestrated event is, or that our government is not here to 100% protect us or be in our favor. I'm so sorry to hear about your dad. I see through things. Yeah, it does lead back to the Smith-Mundt Act, Dank. And thank you for bringing that up or mentioning that, because I talk about this all the time and bring it up in not only in my live streams, and in my videos, but also in other live chats, because people will say, well, how can they do this? How can they get away with fabricating something or orchestrating something like this? It's because the Smith-Mundt Act of 2000, Modernization Act of 2012, made it legal for the US government and the mainstream media to lie and to push propaganda onto the public, i.e., fabricating or orchestrating an entire homicide case. So even if I happened to just have 100% proof of everything that I'm saying, and everyone was just like, "Oh my God, that's insane, that's crazy," and everyone got mad and started going after the government and the mainstream media for lying to us, they can't do it because they can legally do it because of the Smith Modernization Act of 2012. So any of these news stories that they put out, no matter how small, or it could be about a cat dressed in a chicken outfit, or as big as this case, or even bigger, they can legally lie about it and fabricate these news events. So that's why I recommend any of these like news stories that come out in the mainstream media, consider them false until proven otherwise. That's how bad it is. And then people will say, oh, well, why don't you talk about your theory? What, are you just trying to promote your channel? It's like, because I can't. Because even when I do, I get attacked. And it's just like, why would anybody want to be attacked? Nobody wants to be attacked. But it's made that way on purpose. And like I said, that's why they make these events so tragic. But think about it, you guys, that there's absolutely zero proof to show that. See, and this is where I can't say it because it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way around it. But what they've told us about the narrative, there's no proof of it. There's no autopsy photos. There's no open casket. There's no, there's not even like a photograph of Shanann's neck or a foot or an x-ray. Nothing. But they don't need to do that. They don't need to show that proof to make the majority of people believe that it's real. They don't have to go to those lengths to do it. And why would they? Hey, Shan. Like, don't you think it's like, and don't take this the wrong way, but don't you think it's rather convenient that the girls were in crude oil for several days so that their caskets had to be sealed so that if anybody like myself or anybody else questioned if there's anybody in those caskets, well, number one, they're going to look like, oh my God, why would you want to see something like that? Why would you want to see these poor innocent victims that were, soaking in crude oil for days just to please your sick self, or whatever. Like, they told us that that's what happened, so just believe it. No, I'm not going to just believe it. Sorry. Especially when nothing else adds up. But it's rather convenient that they were in crude oil, even though there's no proof of it. Besides saying on a piece of paper on an autopsy report that they were in there, that doesn't prove anything. Anybody can write out an autopsy report. It doesn't mean that that's what really happened. But how convenient that they were in crude oil and their caskets had to be sealed because they were flammable, so that if anybody did want any proof of it or wanted them to be, dug back up for whatever, was it excavated? I don't know if that's the right word. If anybody started making a hype about it, to prove that there's anybody in those caskets, they can't because they're sealed, right? Because they're flammable. And then you're not going to have an open casket at a funeral. That would be horrific. No, of course, nobody wants to see that. I don't want to see that, but they know that, and that's why they do certain things that they do with these cases. And don't even get me started on the Ruseks broadcasting the freaking funeral live for the whole world to see, but then you can't talk about the case. How dare you? You can't. The only way you can talk about it is if you go with the official narrative, no conspiracies, and that's it. So then don't broadcast the freaking funeral live on Facebook. Don't go on Dr. Phil and ABC and publicize the deaths of your family and then tell people not to freaking talk about the case. And then work with Netflix on top of that. Hey, Sandy. I mean, this case is literally, it's never ending. It's just people keep just coming out with more ridiculous theories, and it's just over and over and over and over and over, and but nothing ever gets anywhere. And I compared it to like a soap opera, because it is. It's like, how much, if you guys are ever watch soap operas or like soap operas, you're always hoping that something's going to come from it, like something's going to happen, something significant, and it's always like dramatic, right? And it's like, tune in next time on Days of Our Lives for when whoever turns into a reptilian. I don't know, whatever. I'm just saying that nothing ever comes from soap operas, but that's how they keep people interested, because if they had some sort of ending to it, then they wouldn't have a show anymore, right? Same thing with this case. It's just, over and over and saying, oh, breaking news and 35 C's, but when has anything ever come from any of these breaking news or any of these theories or any of these people saying that we're going to get to the bottom of it? Like, nothing ever comes from it. 2.5 years later, and we're still no further to the truth whatsoever. Do you guys see what I'm saying? It's just never ending. And as long as people keep believing it, which they're going to, people are just gonna, it's just, the case is just gonna be never ending. And you'll notice when it starts to die down, something always big comes out, right? Like the prison phone call video footage, or the leaked phone call with Mark Gillespie and Chris and Anna. But has anything ever come from those at all? No. Like, people need to seriously wake up. Like, I just want to shake so many people and just say, wake up. But I know that it's not that like easy, and you can't just like shake it out of people. And some people will probably, even if I showed them as much facts and evidence as I could, they'll still never believe it. They don't want to go there. They don't want to get out of their bubble, their safe bubble. They don't want to know that they've been duped. They don't want to know that they've been lied to. They just want to stay in their little safe haven and just for the rest of their lives. Chrissy Northern Funky Junkie, I like that name. To answer your question, no, I don't. This case was 100% orchestrated to push multiple agendas onto the public. One is money. Someone's always going to benefit financially, and a lot from it. Two, it's to distract from what's really going on in the world. Three, I'm not there yet, but I'm almost certain it's to pass some sort of law on us, because that's what they're usually about, is taking away some sort of right from us. And it's a social experiment. It's to see how the public react. It's to sway people's opinions. Look over here. Don't look over there. Fear is another one. They want people to always be in fear. They want people to think, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, they want people to think that if someone like Chris Watts, who never showed any prior signs of violence or anything, was a great husband, great father, great friend, yada yada, we heard everything, nobody had anything bad to say about the guy, never would hurt a fly, just an all-around, just great guy, doesn't fit the profile, right? They don't fit the profile for a reason, because they want people to believe and think and be in fear that if someone like Chris Watts can just up one day, murder his entire family with no actual 100% motive. Now, they did give us the bankruptcy here and the debt over here and the mistress. So they did give us possible motives, but they never do give you an actual motive. And that's done on purpose as well. Because people now are trying to figure out why in the hell someone like Christopher Watts would do what he did. How is it possible? How is it possible that someone like that could just up in one day kill his entire family with no 100% motive? So they want people to constantly be in fear, to think that, again, if someone like Chris Watts can kill his entire family, then what's stopping your significant other or your husband from doing the exact same thing to you one day with no prior signs of violence? Someone who, is supposed to protect you and your family, who you're supposed to be able to trust. What is stopping that from happening to you? That's why Chris doesn't fit the profile. And that's why nobody can figure it out. And all these experts say, oh, he's a narcissist. He's a covert narcissist. No, he's not. He's not. But you have these professionals like on Dr. Phil, they come out and say all this stuff because, of course, people are going to believe professionals on Dr. Phil, right? He must be a covert narcissist. He must be showing duper's delight because he's a narcissist and he's a monster. No, he's probably just showing duper's delight because he knows that at the moment in time, he's on his way or already did fool millions of people with his lies. And two, because he's a shitty actor. And that's why they had his back to the camera. Because he was already messing up his lines and messing everything else up because he couldn't control his duper's delight. So they didn't want him to, they didn't want real professionals to actually be able to analyze him and look at his body language as he's confessing to the murders of his family, right? So what did we get? We got his back to the camera. So we won't be able to analyze him or anybody else. Yeah, real transparent there. CBI, Frederick. But nobody thinks about that. They just say, oh, he's duper's delight because he's a narcissist and he's a monster. And he knew that he had just gotten away with murdering his entire family. Or, again, it could just be because he's a shitty actor and a shitty liar. And he knew that he was fooling millions of people. Sorry. And exactly, I see through things. He's getting paid. The main people involved in this case are set for the rest of their lives. People say, where's Shanann and the girls? I don't know. If I knew that, I wouldn't be here trying to convince people or to show people what's really going on with this case. I'd just like, see, here they are. So it's 100% a lie. But I don't know where they are. I only know that it's orchestrated and that we've been lied to on a massive scale. And so many people have been duped, and it's not cool. And that's putting it lightly. It's some messed up shit. But they don't care. They don't care that how many people have been affected by this case. They don't care how many lives they've ruined. They don't care how many people are in fear now. They don't care how much money people have given to these so-called victims. Now, I don't care if anybody hears this. Call me a terrible person. I don't care. I'm not, at this point, I'm not here to care about what people think about me. I'm here to get the truth out about this case. It's going on 2.5 years now over it, and enough's enough. Like, this is beyond ridiculous. It's just silly. I don't know what other word to call it, but it's turned into 100% a freak show. And yet people are just soaking it up. All these other channels, oh, I talked to Chris. And I'm not saying they don't talk to Chris. They can fully 100% talk to Chris. That doesn't prove anything, and it doesn't get us any closer to the freaking truth about this case. All it is, it's distraction, or it's for them to make a buck, or to get their 15 minutes of fame. I don't care if you talk to Christopher Watts. He's a liar. Until you sit there and tell me this is what he said, Even then, I'm still not going to believe it. But you notice how all these people saying they talked to Chris. Oh, I believe that he did this because of this, or I think that he did this. What do you mean you believe and you think? Why don't you just ask the dude? That would make more sense, wouldn't it? I mean, you're talking straight to the source. Why are all these people coming out and saying and admitting to talking to a convicted uh, woman and child murderer? I'm not saying that they're not allowed to. I'm not saying that people cannot be forgiven for whatever, but I'm saying, what is the purpose of coming out on social media and admitting to people that you are speaking to a convicted child killer? Because none of these people have gotten us anywhere closer to the truth either. And they're supposed to be talking straight to the source. And you hear people saying nobody died in the house, trying to, and they're coming to these conclusions saying nobody died. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that the dogs didn't pick up on anything? Because it's a show. Because nobody did die in the house or anywhere else for that matter. And I'm probably just going to get strike number 2 for that, but whatever. But see how difficult they make it for me to even try to expose the truth in this case? Because they know, as well as, other creators know, that they can lose what they work so hard to build. And for the most part, my channel isn't monetized, but for the most part, people make an income off of making content. And YouTube knows that. YouTube knows that if they put this in their guidelines, that people will not talk about it for fear of losing what they, work so hard to build and their income. That's why it's in those guidelines. They do it on purpose because, one, they don't want the truth being exposed, and one, they know if they do that, people aren't going to want to risk losing what they, took so much time to build. And there's channels that have over 500,000 subscribers, over 200,000, over 50,000 that have been taken down, who have had to start from square one again for trying to expose the truth, not, in other events. People say Chris didn't have enough time to to dig the hole and to do all this stuff and a text messenger and all. Of course he didn't. He didn't have enough time. Because it didn't happen. See what I'm saying? Like, and just because mainstream media and the government, you know how easy it would be to just throw a bunch of discovery together to try and convince people? That discovery was probably already written before any of this even took place. And yeah, you'll have the things like weather that Shanann dealt with, and these kind of events, you're going to have stuff like that. You're going to have stuff that that messes up shit for them. Again, like weather. That weather delayed Shanann's plane, which is probably why Chris didn't have enough time to get all the shit done that he did and bury Shanann, dig the hole, do all these text messaging. The guy didn't even have a speck of dirt on him when he came back from the freaking Survey 319. Change your clothes or not. He didn't have sweat. He didn't have dirt. There was no dirt on his boots. I don't even think there was dirt on his tires. Why is that? They didn't think about that, but yeah, people bring it up, but they just go, oh, I don't know, whatever, because he's a clean guy. No. This guy supposedly just murdered his entire family, put their bodies in the truck, took them to the Survey 319, carried them up 2, flights of stairs twice, buried Shanann, dragged her, buried her, and yet this guy looks like he just got 8 hours of full sleep. Come on. Just because it's on body cam footage, it doesn't make it real. How many times do you see body cam footage in the movies or shootings in the movies or victims in the movies, or um, homicide scenes, or murder scenes. That doesn't make them real. But they did that. They released the body cam footage so that people would believe it, because they think, oh, if it's on the body cam footage, it must be real. No, it's not. It doesn't mean anything. It's a drama reality series put out on the world stage for all of us to see, and we all got front row seats to it. So it's very likely that that discovery was already written out before any of this even went down, and they probably had to go in there and adjust a few things, like I said, to the weather. But if you'll notice, there's a lot of mistakes in there, and mistakes are bound to happen in orchestrated events. Nothing's perfect. And a lot of those mistakes are probably there on purpose to confuse people. And that's why they left us with so many unanswered questions that they're never going to answer, so that we bury our heads in the discovery, distract from what's really going on in the world that really matters, or try to pass some sort of law underneath our noses without us seeing. It's done on purpose. And I've watched it unfold for 2.5 years. So many things can be fabricated these days. So many things if you've seen those deep fake videos that they have out now, they look so real. It's insane. You can make anything you want to these days. You can make people believe anything you want. And it's not even that difficult, because people believe anything. They believe what Sherilyn Cadle says, even though she talks to a liar. They don't even have to go through all that to make people believe. They don't have to provide us with a actual crime scene, because people will just believe it. They're not going to go all that effort to stage an entire crime scene with blood and everything or whatever. That's why do you think that they had the murders, have Chris, commit the murders with his bare hands, so that way there is no blood spatter, that there is no murder weapon. So that saves them a hell of a lot of time trying to convince people that a murder happened when it's just done by someone's hands. Do you see what I'm saying? They are very, very intelligent, these people that orchestrate these events. They know what they're doing, and they're always 5 steps ahead of us. Why do you think that Chris took the girls and Shanann to Survey 319? Because Anna Dark was a part of the whole thing, you guys. How easy would it be if Anna Dark was a part of the whole thing? Yeah, here, you can use our Survey 319 to, make people believe that this whole thing happened, that he buried his children there. We'll put a couple of firemen around the oil tanks and make it look like they're pulling 2 little girls out, but never really show anything. So, pull at heartstrings, and, of course, the mainstream media was there to get that one picture, right, of the firemen and the hazmat, to make it all dramatic, right? Because what's more horrific than seeing an image of that they're telling us that these 2 girls have been soaking in these crude oil tanks for days, being pulled out of there? That's pretty horrific. But there's still no evidence to prove that anybody was in those tanks at all. And not only that, but you can't convince me that those girls fit down in those 8-inch holes. No way. But if you have a company that's compliant in the whole entire thing, then you don't have to deal with a real actual oil company who's pissed that this dude just made them look bad by taking his daughters and his wife and burying them at a place that they leased, right? Because in my opinion, if this oil company or oil companies are as powerful as they say, Chris is pretty stupid, in my opinion, to take it to there, because I doubt that he would still even be alive right now if that was truly what happened. And I'm pretty sure that Chris would know that, working for that company, how powerful they are. So when you have a company that's in on it, you don't have to deal with anybody. Why do you think that the Ruseks aren't making a big deal about it? Why are the Ruseks not fighting for justice? Because they know that there's no justice to fight for. The Watts are standing back and just, but now they're getting in on it and 35C and working with Lana. No, it's all a show, you guys. It's all 100% a show. And I feel bad for anybody that has donated money to the Ruseks or given their time or thoughts to them. If they were, actual victims, of course they deserve that. But look how they're acting. Look how they behaved. Even if they were actual, victims, you don't treat people that way, especially coming from calling yourself a victim. It's all, again, to cause chaos, to distract, cause division. Pro Rusek, pro Watts, pro Shanann, pro Chris. Division. They don't want us to be, they want us to be divided. They don't want us to be working together. All these channel creators that are like, fighting against one another and drama and I want more views and I want more views and I want to make this money on this, like, or you can't come in here because you're a channel creator and so we're going to ban you. And if you don't agree with what I say, then we're going to block you. No, if people really wanted the truth, then why aren't they working together? Why am I being shunned from another channel creator that I respected instead of, them saying, or why are they saying, oh, okay, maybe, Megan, I don't really agree with your theory 100%, but I am open-minded and I do want to hear what you have to say, even though I don't 100% agree with it. No, instead it's, you don't know what you're talking about. If you want to go over to that channel and like she has interesting things to say, but your comments and your opinions are not welcome here. That's what I was told in a nutshell. So if everybody really wants the truth, then why aren't they working together? And of course I got off track, and of course I probably answered none of your questions, and I'm really sorry, and I keep saying I'm going to work on that. I started off well. But you know what? They told us everything that was going to happen because I have to take care of dinner. And you can call me crazy, but everything that they put in American Horror Story, I'll check out my American Horror Story videos, the connections. There's even many, many more that I didn't put in those videos because I didn't want people to consider them stretching or whatever. But there should be more than enough within 6 videos to prove that this was orchestrated. And before I go, I'll tell you it's in my what number is it? It's a it's in my 1984 one. I don't remember exactly what part it is. I think it's 5. But there's a scene where one of the characters and another character, right? She fakes her death, okay? Now, although she fakes her death from being executed for a murder that she didn't commit, right? She fakes her death in a sense where the other character somehow or another makes it so that she switched out. Without getting too complicated, she saves this woman from being getting a lethal injection for murder, okay? The next scene, they're, in another scene, they're in a hotel room, and she looks at the one who had escaped from being executed and says, hey, you remember that guy I talked to? Well, he's getting you a new name and a new identity because remember, everybody thinks you're dead. So they literally told us what happened to Shanann. And I know you might say you're crazy. That doesn't prove anything. And I completely 100% get that. But if you watch all the American Horror Stories and you know this case like the back of your hand, which I know that the majority of you do, you're going to have a different outlook on this case after watching that show or watching My American Horror Story Connections. Because everybody thinks Shanann's dead, right? So I'll leave it at that. But um, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. And I will try to do more of these live streams. And Justice, if you want to come up next time, or we'll figure it out. But yeah. So everybody have a good night, and just again, try not to let your emotions get to you, and put those aside. Try to think logically, and just be very careful about what you believe in these people that are putting out all this nonsense. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.